My beloved, hear this message with the weight and urgency with which heaven delivers it, for there is a pattern woven into the very fabric of your recent days, a sequence of repeated experiences, conversations, disappointments, and sudden shifts that you have brushed off as coincidence or chance. But I, Archangel Michael, am sent to warn you that these are not coincidences. They are signals, warnings, divine echoes that keep resurfacing because there is something within you, around you, or connected to you that remains unaddressed, unresolved, and it is demanding your discernment before it solidifies into a cycle too strong to break without consequence. You have said to yourself, "Why does this keep happening? Why do I keep attracting the same kind of pain, the same kind of betrayal, the same kind of delay, the same opportunities that promise much and deliver little?" And you have been tempted to blame the world, to blame others, to even blame your own worth. But child, this is not about punishment, it is about awakening. Heaven has been trying to get your attention, and because gentle whispers were ignored, the signs became louder, the patterns became bolder, the lessons began to repeat with increasing clarity. Because when your soul carries an unhealed agreement, a misplaced loyalty, a tolerated toxicity, or an unbroken chain of thought, it becomes a magnet for the same scenarios. Each one sent not to destroy you but to expose what must be uprooted. That relationship that felt so familiar was not love. It was a mirror of your wound. That job that drained you was not merely bad management. It was a reflection of your fear of saying no. That recurring delay is not just bad luck. It is a pause initiated by heaven to prevent you from building on faulty foundations. I am sent to stand beside you now, sword in hand, to cut through the fog that has kept you bound to repetition, to whisper what the enemy has tried to keep hidden. The reason it keeps happening is because you have not yet made the conscious, spiritual decision to break the cycle, to interrupt the pattern, to close the door to what feels comfortable but kills your growth, and open the door to what stretches you but heals your destiny. There is a spirit of distraction that thrives in your tolerance of almost. There is a spirit of delay that dances in your silence when you were supposed to speak up. There is a counterfeit peace that comes each time you avoid confrontation or settle for less just to maintain temporary harmony. I am not here to condemn you. I am here to empower you, to help you see that the moment you choose differently, the pattern will break. The moment you call it by name, it will lose its authority. The moment you no longer explain away the red flags as just how things are. The moment you decide you are worthy of more, heaven will back your decision with a rearrangement so swift it will shock even those who thought they had you figured out. But for now, you stand at the threshold, and this is why the signs are louder. The faces may change, but the lesson feels the same, the details differ, but the ache is familiar, because heaven is saying, "Do not walk through this loop again without collecting the wisdom I am handing you." Look closely. Who benefits when you stay silent? Who gains when you settle? Who celebrates when you dim your light to fit their comfort? That is your indicator. That is the fingerprint of the pattern. And until you stop ignoring it, you will keep circling the same mountain, praying for a new season while dragging the weight of the old one into each new door. But I say to you, as one sent to guard your purpose and war on your behalf, the moment of awareness is here, the light has pierced the veil, the reason has been exposed. It is not just happening to you, it is happening for you, to show you that your boundaries must rise, your discernment must sharpen, your courage must speak, your alignment must tighten. There are blessings prepared for you that cannot land in a life cluttered with repetitions that dilute your focus. There are people waiting to meet you who cannot step into a space still occupied by patterns of compromise. There is a season on the horizon that requires a freer version of you, one who does not keep saying, "It's fine," when your spirit is screaming that it is not. And this is why I have been relentless in my pursuit to get this message to you, because the longer you delay your decision, the louder the lessons will get, and the more expensive the delay becomes. Do not misread the storm as punishment. It is a divine intervention pulling down the scaffolding of false comforts so that what is real can rise. Watch your days. Watch your triggers. Watch the situations that keep reappearing with different names. They are arrows pointing you toward the doorway of deliverance. Will you walk through it? Beloved, as you lean closer to this message and let it settle within the folds of your spirit, You may begin to recall how many times this same shadow has stretched across your path, how many seasons it has disguised itself with new faces, new words, new offers, yet behind it the same essence lingered, an essence that always demanded more of your energy than it returned, that always came clothed as opportunity but birthed delay, that always whispered comfort but left you compromised, and this is why I, Archangel Michael, am sent to illuminate not just that the pattern exists but how it has been sustained by your agreement, often an unconscious one, but an agreement nonetheless, for patterns thrive where there is toleration, and toleration becomes the fertile ground where seeds of distraction, betrayal, and stagnation grow. Look at the moments you said, yes, just to avoid the discomfort of saying no. Look at the conversations you never had because you feared they would change things. Look at the friendships you kept even when your soul felt drained afterward, and you will see the blueprint of how the enemy keeps rerouting you into cycles that feel like progress at first, but end up wasting precious time. There is a spiritual law at work here. What you entertain repeatedly, you empower. What you excuse consistently, you extend an invitation to remain. And what you refuse to name, you unconsciously nurture. And so the enemy does not always come with open attack. Sometimes he comes with a recurring inconvenience, a familiar emotional storm, a repeated delay in the same area of your life. Knowing that if he can keep you circling, he doesn't need to destroy you outright. He only needs to keep you occupied, distracted, weary, and too tired to step fully into your next. This is why heaven has intensified the warnings lately, why your spirit feels an inner tension that you cannot explain when certain doors open, why the same kind of person shows up with a different name, why the same promise of quick success keeps presenting itself just when you've prayed for breakthrough, because the true breakthrough is hidden behind your decision to say, I have seen this before, and this time, I will not walk the same path. You are not cursed, you are being trained. You are not forsaken, you are being refined. The repetition is not proof that nothing is changing. It is proof that the test is still active because the lesson has not yet been fully integrated. The moment you stop justifying what is draining you, the moment you stop calling loyalty what is actually bondage, the moment you stop naming fear as wisdom, the moment you stop labeling cycles as seasons, the moment you choose discomfort over delay, that is the moment the enemy loses his foothold. But here is the warning heaven has sent me to deliver. The pattern is at its loudest right before the promise breaks through, because the closer you get to alignment, the more desperate the distractions become, the more convincing the offers appear, the more familiar the faces feel, because the enemy will always use the language of your past to seduce your present. This is why you must pause before you say yes this time, why you must pray before you sign, why you must discern before you reconnect, why you must evaluate before you invest, because not every open door is sent by God. Some are traps designed to keep you in the hallway longer than necessary. And if you have been asking, why do I feel like I'm going in circles? Here is your answer. Because the circle only breaks when you walk a different step than you did the last time. Do not be ashamed of how many times you had to repeat the class. What matters now is that you graduate, and graduation is not a ceremony, it is a decision. It is you saying, I choose to break agreement with what no longer serves my purpose. You are not crazy for noticing the pattern, you are spiritually awake, you are not too sensitive for feeling the shift, you are discerning, you are not behind, you are being recalibrated. Heaven has been protecting you in ways you did not recognize. Delayed responses, denied access, doors that slammed shut after so much hope, connections that fell apart without explanation. These were not punishments, they were interventions to stop the cycle from deepening its roots. And now that you know, you cannot unknow it. The warning has become revelation, the pattern has been named, the mirror has been held up. What will you do with it? Will you rush back into the familiar because it is easier to explain? Or will you stand, even trembling, and say, I will not live this year the way I lived the last one? The enemy is hoping you choose comfort, because comfort guarantees the cycle continues. Heaven is waiting for you to choose courage, because courage is the seed that births new timelines. And I, Archangel Michael, will war beside you the moment you decide to break it, not later, not when you feel ready, but the moment you choose, because the authority to end this loop was always waiting in your mouth, your boundaries, your no more. your willingness to feel the discomfort of change for the sake of the joy set before you. Beloved one, as you open your heart to these words, understand that what I reveal to you now goes beyond the surface of behavior and touches the roots buried deep beneath your memories, your wounds, and the silent agreements you made in seasons when you thought survival required silence. Because patterns rarely start where they first appear, they are often born in moments of compromise. In the first time you accepted less than you deserved because you feared losing connection, in the first time you believed peace meant tolerating disrespect, in the first time you equated being chosen with being diminished, and so these spiritual loops begin as seeds planted in the soil of your emotions, watered by your attention, fed by your need for resolution, and reinforced by the familiarity of repetition. This is why the same faces keep appearing in different forms, why opportunities feel strangely similar no matter how different they look on the outside, why your heart keeps circling the same wilderness even when your mind says, I should have been free by now. It is because the enemy knows the power of what you once endured and uses it as a template to construct future distractions, and until you consciously uproot it, you will always feel the echo of it calling you back when you try to move forward. You ask, why does this keep happening to me? And I tell you, it is not random, it is a spiritual echo responding to an old permission. Every time you do not confront it, the cycle resets. Every time you say, maybe next time, to the very thing that broke you before, the loop tightens. Every time you confuse history for destiny, the path delays again. But here is the deeper revelation: the enemy does not waste his best traps on empty ground. He only repeats patterns where there is great promise. He only invests in delay where your breakthrough carries weight in the spiritual realm. If your destiny was small, the resistance would be light. The repetition itself is a clue that you carry something worth fighting over. And that is why heaven keeps sending you signs: the sudden unease you feel when a familiar type of person appears, the repeated dreams about places you thought you left, the way your body tenses when certain names come up, the strange alignment of events that all seem to test your patience in the same area. These are not coincidences. They are signals, and I am here to confirm them. You are not imagining it, you are awakening to it. The pattern has a spiritual assignment: to waste your time, to drain your joy, to keep you so focused on managing the familiar that you have no strength to birth the new. But there is an authority within you now that was not there the first time, because pain has matured you, delays have trained you, silence has taught you discernment, and though you may feel weary, you are actually wiser. The next time it knocks, you will not open as easily. The next time it flatters, you will hear the hollowness behind the words. The next time it promises quick resolution, you will remember how long the last promise cost you. And so I speak this boldly: the pattern is afraid of your awareness, because once you see it, you cannot be enslaved by it the same way again. Your yes carries power, but so does your no. And heaven is asking you to reclaim that power. You do not have to be rude to be free. You do not have to hate them to walk away. You do not have to explain your boundaries to those who benefited from their absence. You simply have to decide that your future is worth more than your habit of being available to what drains you. This is the war in the spirit right now, not the war to make them like you, but the war to make you stay when God already said, go. And for some, the test will come as an invitation. For others, it will come as a plea for one more chance. For a few, it will disguise itself as a crisis that demands your rescue. But no matter the form, the purpose is the same: to measure whether you have truly learned or only survived. Surviving a pattern is not the same as breaking it. Breaking it means recognizing it even when it comes with better words. It means refusing to dance the same dance even when the music sounds softer this time. It means saying, I no longer owe access to what once had it. This is the courage you are being asked to walk in. And I, Archangel Michael, am not only revealing the strategy of the enemy, I am reinforcing your spirit with the sword of truth, that when the moment comes, you will not tremble as before. You will see the familiar smile and remember the sleepless nights it caused. You will hear the flattering tone and remember the silent tears that followed. And you will choose differently, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom, not out of anger, but out of alignment. And this, beloved, is what shifts timelines: not louder prayers, but wiser decisions, not longer waiting, but courageous moving, not seeking another sign, but responding to the one you are hearing now. Beloved one, this is the moment where your willingness to see and your courage to act will determine the direction of your next chapter, because heaven has already marked you for release, but it cannot force you to walk out of a door you keep propping open with your fears, and the pattern you have endured is not just an inconvenience. It is a thief that has learned the shape of your compassion, the tone of your patience, the language of your forgiveness, and it has been wearing them like keys to gain access to your peace. I, Archangel Michael, have stood beside you in silent moments when you almost went back, when the ache of loneliness felt louder than the promise of restoration, when the apology you longed to hear was offered just enough to keep you hoping, when the opportunity that looked like a breakthrough whispered, "One more try won't hurt." But heaven recorded the cost of every one more try. It saw the dreams you postponed, the gifts you buried under obligation, the nights you stayed awake wondering why the cycle always ends with you carrying more weight than you started with. And so now this word comes not to condemn you, but to awaken you. The pattern is not stronger than you, it only survives because you keep feeding it with access, attention, and accommodation. You ask, how do I break it? And I say, you break it by choosing differently while the echo of the old still calls your name, by saying no while your heart still wants to say yes, by creating distance even when familiarity screams comfort, by trusting that what God removes is always replaced with something aligned, something steady, something that does not require you to shrink, to chase, to beg, or to bleed just to keep it alive. The enemy has studied your timeline, but heaven authored it, and heaven is now rewriting the parts where you gave away your power unknowingly. This is why the same faces keep returning. The same temptations keep arriving dressed in slightly better clothing, the same apologies keep showing up with promises of, "This time will be different." It is not a sign to surrender to it again, it is the final exam before the promotion. Patterns often scream the loudest right before they break, because the enemy knows he is losing his grip. So I command this over you now, may your discernment become sharper than your longing, may your vision become clearer than your nostalgia. May your hunger for peace become stronger than your craving for closure, because not every pattern deserves an explanation, some only deserve your absence. And here is the promise: the moment you finally say, "No more," and mean it not from pain but from purpose, the heavens will shift in your favor, the delayed answers will begin to flow, the connections you have been praying for will start to find their way to you, and the places where you once felt empty will begin to attract what is holy, what is stable, what is ready. Your future is not behind you. It is waiting in the next decision that honors your growth. So close the door gently but firmly. Do not curse them, do not chase them, do not leave it half open for nostalgia to slip through. This is your spiritual emancipation. You are not abandoning them, you are answering the call of your own restoration. And as you walk forward, know that I go before you with a flaming sword, cutting ties in the spirit that were never meant to survive this next season, sealing cracks where manipulation once entered, and preparing divine alignments that will not require you to compromise your worth. You are not late. You are not weak. You are awakening. And the proof that the pattern feared your rise is that it tried to make you believe that nothing would ever change. But change is here. It begins with you. It begins now. It begins with a decision heaven will honor with open doors, unexpected favor, and peace that will no longer be borrowed but built. So step forward, beloved one, not to repeat history, but to finally write a future that does not carry the fingerprints of what tried to keep you small, but the signature of the God who always knew you were meant for more.